$2 trillion infrastructure bill impacts you. In this episode, I'm going to address taxed for every mile you drive. Yep, this is what they've got up their sleeve. Let me share with you what this means to everybody who drives in America. I'm Doug Andrew, and I've helped many thousands of people for more than 4.5 decades optimize their financial assets and minimize taxes. So my eyes roll every time I see Congress pass legislation to raise taxes. If you've ever realized that if pro and con are opposite, I think Congress is the opposite of progress, okay? And so because of all of this irresponsible government spending, and they seem to tout, golly, we need $2 trillion for infrastructure. Well, isn't it interesting that recently they passed a COVID pandemic relief $2 trillion package, and it was revealed that less than 10% of that actually went to anything to do with COVID relief, but they like to tuck all of these other initiatives inside that legislation. Well, from what I've been able to study and see, that is true of the infrastructure package that they're trying to pass for $2 trillion. They started out at $3 trillion, and they decided to bring it down to $2.2 trillion and say, look, we tightened our belts. Yeah. Well, frankly, this $2 trillion on top of what they've already passed is way more than double what the IRS collects in taxes in an entire year. So when this happens, they've got to come up with the money somewhere. Now, in a lot of episodes on this channel, I talk about there's two places government tries to solve overspending. They print money, which causes inflation, and they raise taxes everywhere they possibly can. So there's other episodes on this very channel that talk about the increase in income tax, how 401ks are being affected, the corporate tax rates, and that's going to cause a recession as they raise corporate tax rates, and corporations have to shell out 33% more in taxes than they've been used to, and on and on and on. If this intrigues you, make sure you subscribe to this channel, because I post an in-depth answer to a financial question almost on a daily basis. And I'm very passionate about educating people like you so that you're empowered if you're feeling confused or isolated or powerless about what you're supposed to do. Now, what really seems to bug me, okay, is that oftentimes the politicians will say they're not going to hurt the little guy. Well, then why has gasoline gone through the roof, okay? People are having a harder time just driving to work because of what gas has gone up to. And now on top of that, they want to tax you for every mile you drive. Now, why is this happening? It's because they've got to come up with tax revenue, and under infrastructure, which I understand less than 10% is really going towards bridges and highways, they want to tax people for driving on those highways and over those bridges. Sounds legit, right? And so we have Janet Yellen, who is the Secretary of the Treasury, who says, you must raise taxes. You got to come up with some money to cover this $2 trillion. And she says at least half. I'll print money to cover the other half maybe, but she wants to raise taxes to come up with half of it. Well, who's in charge of the Secretary of Transportation? It's Pete Buttigieg. And so he has announced, I have an idea. We're going to tax people. They haven't passed it yet, but it's coming. We want to tax people for every single mile they drive. How are they going to do that? What does that mean? Let's think about it. If on top of already high gas prices, and we pay a gasoline tax, we have to pay an additional tax for every mile we drive, where is this going to stop? First of all, how are they going to measure that? Now, sometimes people think, Well, they'll just do the honor system, like on a tax return, where you report how many miles you drove. Have you ever been audited? They want to see your records and what you wrote down from the odometer every day, and was it really business related and so forth. Well, with technology today, I know trucking companies that actually have computers mounted in that show exactly with GPS and everything, every single mile, where they went, how far they went, how much gas they consumed, how much diesel fuel or whatever. I don't care if you're burning propane. So with technology, mark my word, I would not be surprised that they will require every single vehicle, anything that moves, maybe your bike, that if you're out there on the asphalt, they want to know via GPS chips exactly how far you moved every week, every month of the year, and then tax you for being in motion. I don't know if that rubs you wrong like it does me, but they're now starting to invade my life more and more, my privacy, and that seems to bother me. So let's just get back to taxing you for every mile you drive. I'm already paying tons of tax on the gas I'm putting in the car. I thought that was supposed to go for highways. And so now they've added another one, tax. So is it going to be a motion tax in the future? Are they going to tax you for the water you drink? See, I've seen civilizations that get really upset and rebel when they have gone to the stream and gotten water for free until the town got developed and they had to start paying for the water. And, you know, they can argue, well, we piped it over, it's more convenient for you now. But people begin to rebel when they have to pay for things that they were able to do for free before, because they pay tax for the gas already. Are we going to be taxed for natural resources? How about for the oxygen you breathe? Well, you breathe in more than your fair share of oxygen. I saw you take an extra breath. I think you should pay for the oxygen you consume. Now, I'm being a little bit facetious here, but where does it stop? And so if you want to direct some of your hard-earned money and be able to protect yourself from being taxed to death, let me show you how I've helped many, many people optimize their assets and minimize unnecessary taxes. Because whether we end up having to pay tax for every single mile or every bit of motion we make, if we can't get around it, let me show you what you can do with your money to protect it from unnecessary tax. Even though I think we should all pay our fair share, but I think more people are going to be paying way more than their fair share the way we're headed. So here's what you can do. As a retirement planning specialist, I've helped thousands of people prepare for a comfortable retirement so they do not outlive their money. And I've noticed that a lot of retirees do outlive their money because of the negative impact of taxes, always going up, inflation, and those two things are going to happen because of irresponsible government spending and the printing of money. And it also causes recessions and market volatility. And so people, they outlive their money. So years ago, I began to study the best places to park serious cash. The money that we earmark for our future. And it's not in IRAs and 401ks. It's not in Roth IRAs and 401ks. I've never owned an IRA or 401k. I never will. I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k. I never will. You can search this channel and find out why. What's my favorite place to set aside my money and accumulate it totally tax-free? And it's been tax-free for over 107 years in the Internal Revenue Code. It's not a tax loophole. It's what I call the laser fund, and I wrote a book about it. It's my 11th book. It's flying off of our warehouse shelves. I'm sending out nearly 1,000 of these a week, and I'll show you how you can get your free copy. I want to gift you one of these. In a nutshell, the laser fund allows you to accumulate your money tax-free, not just tax-deferred like IRAs and 401ks. But when I go to retire, but I don't even have to wait till I retire. I don't have to wait till I'm 59 and a half. I don't have all those strings attached. I can access my money tax-free. And so when people accumulate money, for every $1 million they accumulate, did you know that at $500 a month in a laser fund, in 30 years you will likely have $1 million tax-free? That $1,000,000, if you sat back and lived off of the interest, you could probably pull out $100,000 a year and never deplete the principal if you live to be 120. I've not seen anything else in the Internal Revenue Code that allows you to do that. Now, it's not a Roth. Roths are tax-free, but they have too many strings attached. Why would I own a Roth when a laser fund has the two benefits of a Roth? It accumulates tax-free and it provides tax-free income. I have those two benefits with the laser fund, and 4 additional benefits Roths will never have. I can put in huge lump sums. I can take money back out again. I don't get penalized if I touch it before I'm 59 and a half. I don't have all these little rules and restrictions. I don't like those. And so the laser fund ends up being one of the best places to accumulate money totally tax-free. You can access your money tax-free. And at the end of the day, when we all pass away, because none of us are getting out of here alive. I don't mean out of this video. I mean out of this life. We're all going to die. And every $1,000,000 I leave behind in my laser fund blossoms to about $2.5 million and transfers totally tax-free to my family, my wife, my kids, my grandkids, a church, a charity, Boy Scouts, whoever I leave it to. So I would rather redirect taxes to causes I support. Would you like a free copy? Here's how to get one. If you'll go to Laser Fund, L-A-S-E-R, laserfund.com, you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. It retails for $20. I'll pay for that. And I'll send out a copy. It's actually 2 books in one. One is 200 pages, 14 chapters. It's the white side. If you flip the book over, this one is 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories of how the Laser Fund is one of the best financial instruments, the dream solution for so many financial goals. I call it a financial Swiss Army knife. It has all these different functions, okay? And so I want you to read and study it. There's options there if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn. But read this, empower yourself so that as we get taxed to death for everything we do, there is one place that has been grandfathered as a sacred tax-free cash cow for generations, and this is where a lot of Congress people put their money. I don't want you to miss out. So read, study, engage, and I would love for you to learn more.